This is a wonderful annual tradition, and we're so pleased to see you here for the first time or returning for one or more times. My name is Jonathan Parker. I am the Park Superintendent here at Sagamore Hill National Historic Site, and I want to say on behalf of the National Park Service and the United States Department of Interior, happy 4th of July. The partners, the volunteers, the staff here have all worked to put together this event, and first and foremost I want to recognize our staff, volunteers, and partners who are making all the programming and activities here possible for us. Thank you. We've got a wide array of activities to share with you today, including free tours of the Theodore Roosevelt home. You can sign up for the free tours at the tent right in that direction there. These are timed ticket entries to get into the house. We also have wonderful live music from the Calliope Brass, who are up here behind me on the stage. We have outdoor lawn games for kids and adults, as well as a presidential photo booth. So if you are looking to take a picture or maybe a selfie with Theodore Roosevelt or Quentin Roosevelt, we'll be having that going on the north side of the house this afternoon. We also have free copies of the Declaration of Independence, courtesy of the Friends of Sagamore Hill, and a Junior Ranger program for kids. There's a lot to see and do here. If you have any questions, please talk with a staff member or volunteer, and you also might want to ask them, where do you recommend I go, or what do I see or do here at Sagamore Hill? I want to thank and recognize our National Park Service staff, volunteers, and our partners, Eastern National, the Eastwood Schools, the Theodore Roosevelt Association, and a special thank you to the Friends of Sagamore Hill for providing us with additional support, the copies of the Declaration of Independence that you have today, and also the free shuttle to and from the park this afternoon. Sagamore Hill is one of 429 parks, national parks in the United States. It's a system of special places that are owned by all Americans. And this means you, and you, and you. It includes the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, the Statue of Liberty in New York City, the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C., the Badlands of North Dakota, the picturesque hills of the Shenandoah, and the beautiful horizon of the Blue Ridge, as well as the rainbow-hued depths of Grand Canyon and the towering sequoia trees at Yosemite. It was at Yosemite 160 years ago that Frederick Law Olmsted, the great American landscape architect, the designer of Central Park, the Niagara Falls Reservation, and the Adirondacks, led an expedition to study and document the Yosemite. So Frederick Law Olmsted is in the Yosemite, and he is there for the purpose of documenting what he sees. His trip led to the creation of a groundbreaking report that would change the course of American land conservation. Within Olmsted's report of the Yosemite, he calls for the protection of this place and other public areas that today we now know as national parks, as Mr. Olmsted fervently believed that this action, the preservation and creation of a park, would lead to, quote, the refinement of the republic, unquote, the betterment of our country and our citizenry. He believed that public use and enjoyment, as well as public ownership of the country's most beautiful, scenic, and meaningful places, including right here at Sagamore Hill, would elevate and engage our citizenry and ultimately help fulfill the rights and aspirations that were articulated in the Declaration of Independence. Creating parks to Olmsted was to directly facilitate the country's and the individual citizens' pursuit of happiness. In 1903, Theodore Roosevelt and naturalist John Muir were in the Yosemite together. Guided into the Yosemite wilderness by Muir, the president went on a 3-day wilderness trip. Muir seized the opportunity to, quote, do some good forest talking freely around the campfire. And the president is quoted as saying, of course, of all the people in the world, John Muir was the one with whom it was best worthwhile to thus see the Yosemite. Roosevelt remarked on the trip, quote, there can be nothing in the world more beautiful than the Yosemite, the groves of the giant sequoias. Our children should see to it that they are preserved for their children and their children's children forever, with their majestic beauty unmarred, unquote. Ultimately, Theodore Roosevelt, through his precedent-setting interpretation of the Antiquities Act his work with Congress, and his executive action would set aside more than 230 million acres of land in public trust. That's about 84,000 acres per day of his presidency, or about 1 acre per second. 1, 2, 3. Sagamore Hill has 83 acres, so in 83 seconds, he would have preserved this place. Today, these national parks, forests, and wildlife refuges, some 143 of them established by President Theodore Roosevelt, are some of the most inspiring and beautiful natural and cultural resources in the United States. These places belong to you and your children and your children's children. They, like this place, Sagamore Hill, are here for your enjoyment and for dynamic education in history, civics, science, and much more. Like Olmsted's prescient vision in 1864 and Roosevelt's advocacy for, quote, the production of good citizenship, unquote, these national parks provide all of us with ample opportunity for learning more about our country, our ongoing pursuit of happiness, advancing a vibrant democracy, and creating a more perfect union. These are some of the values that we celebrate here and at Sagamore Hill and on the 4th of July. I want to thank you for choosing to spend the afternoon here with us at Sagamore Hill, and I want to wish you a wonderful 4th of July. It's now my pleasure to introduce a park partner. I'd like to introduce Howard Ehrlich, CEO of the Theodore Roosevelt Association. Howard?
Most people believe I'm not a Secret Service agent, so. We have here the President of the United States. Mr. President, Quentin, thank you for your service. Very quickly, the Theodore Roosevelt Association, was started back in 1920, a year after the President's death. It's created by an act of Congress. The only presidential association to do so, be created by an act of Congress. And we do many, many things, good things. Teddy bears for kids across the country in hospitals. One of the great things we have is called the Teddy Bear Clinic. If a child is having some chemotherapy, they have a teddy bear holding it, also getting the same chemotherapy simulated. When you see the smile on their faces, what better is there? We also support the USS Roosevelt aircraft carrier and its crew, National War College. We have so many awards. We have the police awards here for Nassau and Suffolk County. And of course, we support all of the national sites dealing with President Roosevelt across this great country. Just want to leave you with this one thought on this great day. If President Roosevelt, who is here today, would normally be here, he'd be standing here with the crowds down the hill giving a speech. When he came to vote, he'd wait online with everybody else in town. Of course, he'd do some campaigning while he was online. But this is the man he was. He was president of all the people. And this brings me to the last, and I'm going to leave you this with this quote, my favorite. If you go to the cemetery, Young Cemetery, you will see it next to Edith and TR. And it says this, remember this. Keep your eye on the stars, but your feet firmly planted on the ground. What better advice than that? Thank you very much. Enjoy the day.
As Howard mentioned, the association between Roosevelt and the Theodore Roosevelt Association goes by more than 100 years, and this park here is supported each day by our partners, the Theodore Roosevelt Association and many others. I'd now like to introduce one of our next partners, the Friends of Sagamore Hill, and to speak on behalf of them is Ginny Perrell, the acting chairperson for the Friends of Sagamore Hill. Ginny?
Well, hello everybody. It's good to see everybody today. We're getting a little breeze, which is nice and welcome. My name is Ginny Perrell, and I'm the acting chairperson of the Friends of Sagamore Hill. Our group, composed entirely of volunteers, was founded in 1995 to help preserve and protect Sagamore Hill. And what exactly does that mean? Over the course of our existence, Friends has been involved in projects that have ranged from providing funds to replace the lovely green and white awnings you see on the house and here, to presenting to restoring taxidermy and artifacts inside the house, to presenting prominent authors and speakers to the public via our free Gable lecture series. Maybe some of you have attended some of those lecture series. They're really a lot of fun. And we co-sponsor the annual Nassau-Suffolk Police Awards, as Howie mentioned, with the TRA, and we are providing the shuttle buses many of you used to be here today. So please stop by our information table located in the picnic area, say hello to the members who are there, and take a brochure. We would love to have you join us as a member or a donor or both. Independence Day is a very special celebration for Americans. And there is a song written about 40 years ago that I think really sums up the way a lot of us feel. And I'd like to read the lyrics to that song. You probably know it. I won't sing. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Thank you. On behalf of the Friends of Sagamore Hill, thank you for choosing to spend your July 4th this year with us here at Theodore Roosevelt's home. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, Ginny.